When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Routine, adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice an individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules but behave as if they do not exist. Routine, the new fragrance by Miu Miu, defined by you.
This is Optimal Health Daily. Can meal timing improve your sleep? By Riley Pearce of FreeFormFitness.ca. And I'm your host and narrator, Dr. Neil. Hey there, happy middle of the week Wednesday, and welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I read some of the best health and fitness blogs to you, always with a little bit of my commentary at the end. Now, it is the middle of the week, and like I do every Wednesday, I want to give you a little bit of inspiration. So here we go. Quote, "When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That is my religion." Abraham Lincoln. All right, and with that, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. Can meal timing improve your sleep? By Riley Pearce of FreeFormFitness.ca. Every year, daylight saving time causes a week of agony for many of us. We feel less rested, more irritable, and very blah, for lack of better words. Some people suggest preparing for the time change weeks in advance, while others propose adapting other areas of your life to help you adjust. One of the more common suggestions is using your meal times to try and hack into the circadian rhythm and reset the clocks a little faster. In this article, we will explain what the circadian rhythm is and its major influences. Then we will look at whether or not meal timing has a real effect on it. Keep listening to answer the question, can meal timing improve your sleep? Overview of the circadian rhythm. Our bodies operate on cycles. We have positive and negative feedback loops occurring throughout the day. Our cells recycle themselves on a regular basis, and our hormones fluctuate in a cyclical manner on a 24-hour cycle, and additionally on a monthly cycle for those assigned a female gender at birth. The circadian rhythm is a natural cycle that is controlled by our biological clocks. Yes, we actually have these. We have a master clock in our brains, known as the suprachiasmatic nuclei, which is controlled by light signals, the sun mainly. We also have peripheral clocks. These are things like neural pathways, hormone rhythms, body temperature signals, like thermoreceptors, and finally, signals from feasting and fasting cycles. The core hormones involved in the peripheral clock system are cortisol, ghrelin, insulin, leptin, and melatonin. Cortisol acts as a messenger between the master clock and the peripheral clocks and is a powerful hormone. Primarily, cortisol triggers a number of other hormones and functions in the body that control our stress response or our fight or flight response, and can additionally be used to help wake up the body. This is why it's recommended to drink water at the beginning of your day instead of coffee, as your body is naturally producing cortisol to help wake you up. If you want to have a coffee, wait at least an hour after you've woken up before you have your first cup. As part of the cascading effects of cortisol, your body will eventually send signals to your brain telling you that you are hungry. This is triggered by ghrelin. If you want to remember, think of your stomach grumbling. That's caused by ghrelin. So you feel your stomach grumble and you decide to have some breakfast. Depending on the breakfast you eat, you will trigger insulin to be released. This is a hormone that originates in the pancreas and acts as a doorway to the cells of the liver, muscles, and fat cells to allow glucose or sugar to enter into the cells. To remember this hormone, think about how insulin lets glucose into the cells. The cells then use this for energy production. If not used, they will be stored for later use in adipocytes or fat cells. After a few bites of breakfast, you start to feel satisfied and maybe even full. This is triggered by the hormone leptin. If you want a way to remember this hormone, think about leftovers. Leptin causes you to feel full and might create leftovers. Or you can just remember that this is the opposite of ghrelin. After your first meal of the day, your body will go through a series of cycles of ghrelin, insulin, and leptin until the sun starts to go down or your final meal of the day. The change in light and that final release of leptin will trigger the master clock to start the production of melatonin. This is the hormone that will make you feel mellow and will eventually help your brain prepare for sleep. So now that you understand the basics of the circadian rhythm, let's look at how you can strategically time your meals to have a better, more restful sleep. Meal timing for better sleep. As we mentioned before, the master clock is mainly controlled by light signals, and the circadian rhythm is controlled by both the master clock and peripheral clocks. The peripheral clocks we will be focusing on are the hormonal signals and how they relate to the fasting and feasting signals. We can't control when the sun comes up or goes down, so controlling the master clock can be tricky, although happy lights, blackout blinds, and blue light filters can help. So we have to look at what we can control, and that's our meal times. The idea behind meal timing and improving your sleep is that if you prolong your fasting phase in the morning and give yourself enough time between your final meal and your desired bedtime, this will improve your overall sleep quality. Most people are not that hungry in the morning, so if you prolong your fast, you have a chance to eat a more substantial meal later in the day. This could be beneficial for your insulin levels as well, depending on what you choose for your first meal. Later in the day, if you have dinner at 7 p.m. and want to be asleep by 10 p.m., this, theoretically, will give your body 3 hours to prepare for sleep and start producing more melatonin. The power of the sun. According to a study published in Current Biology titled Meal Timing Regulates the Human Circadian System, meal timing won't affect your sleep. In fact, they studied the levels of melatonin or sleep hormone and cortisol or wake up and boost hormone in participants when they ate 30 minutes after sunrise and had their final meal 10 and a half hours later, and then again when they ate breakfast at 5 hours after sunrise and their final meal 10 and a half hours later. Both groups experienced an increase in melatonin beginning at 11 p.m. or 1 hour after dark and a peak at 3 a.m. where it then began to decrease. Cortisol levels started to increase at 3 a.m. and peaked at around 8:30 a.m., about an hour and a half after sunrise, with another secondary bump around 3 p.m. So it looks like meal timing may not have the effect on our sleep cycles that we originally thought. Keep in mind that this study was done on 17 healthy young men in a controlled environment. The constant between the two meal timing routines was the simulation of light and dark that the participants were exposed to. Night was simulated between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. The day was simulated between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. As soon as it was dark, the participants started to produce melatonin, and as the melatonin started to decrease after 3 a.m., or 5 hours after the dark phase started, the cortisol began its steady incline, preparing the body to wake up. If you want to get better sleep, try this. So now that we know how powerful the light signals are for our circadian rhythms, here are some actual ways to improve your quality of sleep. 1. Get blackout blinds for your bedroom or an eye mask. Complete darkness is best for good, uninterrupted sleep. 2. Use blue light filters on phones and other devices to limit blue light exposure after sunset. The brain doesn't know the difference between sunlight and the blue light emitted from technology. So if you want to help the body produce melatonin at night, make sure you set the blue light filters to turn on at sunset. And 3, reduce food intake after sunset. If you eat, this will signal all of those other periphery clocks to let your master clock know it's not time for bed yet. This may interrupt the production of melatonin and result in less restful sleep. Both meal timing routines had similar melatonin and cortisol cycles because the participants didn't eat after dark. One final fact from the study. One of the interesting observations from the study was that when the participants waited 5 hours before their first meal, their blood sugar levels were lower. This could mean that extending your fast after waking up could be beneficial for blood sugar levels, which is a good indicator of metabolic health. Sleep is a crucial part of our lives. We need it to rest, recover, and prepare for the next day. Although food timing may not have the greatest impact on our circadian rhythms, we can say that eating after dark is not great for a restful sleep, and that extending your fast in the morning may lead to lower blood glucose levels. You just listened to the post titled, "Can Meal Timing Improve Your Sleep?" by Riley Pearce of FreeFormFitness.ca. And I'll be right back with my commentary.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. When I was looking to hire, it was so slow and overwhelming. I wish I had used Indeed. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Dr. Neal here for my commentary. Now, I want to clarify the third tip that today's author Riley mentioned. Riley said that it may be helpful to reduce food intake after sunset. This doesn't necessarily mean that we need to fast after sunset. I'm making this distinction because you may find that trying to fall asleep while your stomach is grumbling can be a bit of a challenge, and it might end up disturbing your sleep anyways. So again, it may not be necessary to completely avoid all food after sunset. Instead, a reasonable goal may be to eat when you feel hungry and then stop when those hunger feelings have passed. You don't eat until you feel full, but again, only until the stomach rumbling has stopped. All right, that does it for today. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday if you're listening in real time, and I'll see you back here for tomorrow's show where your optimal life awaits.